Today I'm going to walk you through our 6-phase approach created by yours truly, and we've continued to kind of refine it over the years. And now this particular technique is taught through our Gamma and Stylecraft educators across the country. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how we approach this haircut. We will be using some enhancements, fix a receding hairline, and we'll show you everything about the blend you need to know. So this will be a comprehensive learning tool for you, for new barbers, for people who are interested in this industry, and probably you're going to pick some stuff up in this video if you watch it with an open mind. Also, before I even get started, I just want to shout out Fort Worth Barber Supply. Use the code Eddie10 for anything outside of Stylecraft and Gamma. And with Stylecraft and Gamma, you guys can also use the code Eddie and save 10% on any of the tools that you guys are about to see in this video. Let's go. Phase 1, and that simply means that we're just going to remove the bulk off of the top of his haircut. So to do that, I'm actually going to equip a 1 1/2 guard, close it entirely, and I'm going to move with the grain. We have some great POV shots here to show you exactly what we're doing throughout the whole process, and we are going to add them where it makes sense to do that. In my left hand, I have the comb, and I'm going to continue to lay down the wave with that left hand and follow up and make sure I clean up anything behind it. Our next step is going to be taking our soft set trimmer and putting in our first guideline. Now, I know a lot of times you guys might get a little bit confused about this. This line is going to be difficult to remove. That would be true if I didn't set it properly. So this is definitely a big key takeaway. We want to make sure that we have one of our trimmers set back some so it's not so sharp. I can easily maneuver this around the head and I can make this line the best that I can using my mirror. I want to make sure it is balanced and proportionate because this is going to be the foundation of the rest of your haircut. Here's a big key. If you're using the electric shaver, we're going to make sure we stop just a little bit before where we went with that trimmer, releasing some tension, and also don't be afraid to take a couple of taps downward with the tool. The one that I'm using is the Instinct motor from Stylecraft. This is the Instinct shaver. Excellent tool, very good runtime, but above all, it has the ability to speed up when it senses resistance, which actually causes me to work a little bit differently with this tool. I can actually put it flat on the head and just let it eat. Normally, we would do a phase 2. That's clipper over comb. That's for somebody with longer hair like me. Maybe we're trying to make a connection into the top. Next, we would do phase 3, which would be cutting the top with scissors or something like that. But because he wears the top of his haircut cut so low, we actually handled that already in our bulk removal phase. So we get to kind of skip both of these, and we're going to move directly into phase 4. How do we begin to blend out that skin line? The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my clipper, I'm going to put it in the fully open position, and I'm going to begin setting in a guideline. This is your open taper guideline, and we're going to make sure that we keep it about the width of a finger. And it's just as important with this guideline as it was with the previous one that we maintain that width all the way around the head. Some of you guys have asked me in the comment sections before, hey, do you do half of the head, then do the other half? I actually think that's kind of dumb. If you have the tool out, if you have the guard on, doing it twice is only going to make it take twice as long. I think it makes a lot of sense to do all of these steps all the way around the head. And that's why your barber chair spins. You can use your mirror, you can do what makes sense and make sure that it's put in accurately. Now, here's a big tip. We're going to jump straight to the half guard and we're going to open it 2 clicks. So if I close it all the way and I open it back 1, 2, now I'm going to begin actually blending. Those were setting in guidelines. Now this is the first step that I'm actually blending. So you'll notice one thing. My clipper is on an angle and I'm trying to angle it best I can against the grain at first, and I'm going to see what this does. Now I can engage in a little bit of playing with the lever. I can open it, I can close it, I can do what I need to do, and I'm really just using the best barber tool I have, which is my eyes, and I'm letting my eyes kind of guide me on what I need to do next. Now, with curly hair, with anybody with waves, generally speaking, it's pretty safe to take a couple of swipes with the grain. Sometimes that'll help lay down that curl. Sometimes that'll help lay down that blend. And as you can see, those couple of swipes that I took with the grain really had a good effect here on that particular section of the haircut. We're going to continue doing this all the way around the head. So one big takeaway here, just another key to the game. When we're blending, we want to keep our clipper kind of on an angle. We want to try to reduce the amount of touching to the scalp, and we can do that in a couple different ways. Once by tipping it out, getting it away further from the head, or just tipping it on an angle and using a couple of teeth. Generally, When you guys get into trouble, it's because you hold it flat. Now, if I hold it flat, I go up into that section and something disappears. Well, now I got to bring the entire blend up. I don't want to have to do that. So the next step here is putting back my 1 1/2 guard on and going up against the grain. Now notice that I pretty much skipped the number 1 guard entirely for the most part at this point, and that's because I want to keep this dark. You guys will see how this blend turns out, and it's pretty awesome when you understand how some of this stuff works. So I don't usually use the 1 guard as frequently anymore. For the last couple of years, I kind of realized it's useful for sure, and it's necessary in certain points, but I try to reduce the amount I'm using it. So now that I actually have the number 1 guard on, I first used it with the grain, and now I'm going to use it a little bit against the grain. If there's any cleanup that you need to do to make that connection into the top, that's pretty much what we're going to do here. So the 1 1/2 guard was something that I just kind of did to just make sure I'm being safe, make sure I'm not making mistakes. And now we're going to remove that bottom line. This is something that you guys ask about all the time. And the way that I'm going to do it was with my clipper fully closed, and I'm going to begin flicking with it on an angle. Now, I don't want you to worry about any other areas of the haircut. If you create another line, it's okay. That's why we have this click system. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 5 different positions. The clipper that I'm using is actually the Rebel clipper. It runs a little bit slower, and it's a really good tool for blending. And I put my Echo Crunch blade, which is by far my favorite blade, on here. And this clipper is set fairly close. So as you can see, it'll remove the line, but it might not remove all of it, which is fine. We can use a trimmer to clean up the very bottom. But the thing that you guys make a mistake with, I think a lot of you guys who like to blend down, it's taking too many steps because you're not cutting anything. So you start from the top and you work your way down. That's fine in barber school, but in this particular environment, I have a schedule to maintain. I need to move quick, and you'd be surprised with it fully closed. There's going to be certain sections that just literally come out like magic, and that's what we want. We want to be efficient. We don't need to be running the clipper over and over and over again on the same spot without creating any differences. So to me, the efficiency and the speed of doing it from the bottom going up, as far as the bottom line is concerned, I think that makes a lot of sense. Let me know how you guys do it. Do you still prefer to come from the top down? Have you tried this technique? But if you isolate just a few teeth and you little by little start kind of poking into that section and then begin just kind of clicking it open 1 step at a time. There is a way you can just easily take off the clicks. If you don't want the clicks, you can take them off if you prefer a floating lever. But these clicks really help me to explain what I'm doing to you, for one, but they really keep me organized. And if you see the other tool I picked up, that's actually, it's called the One. It's just a single foil shaver. It's the Johnny B edition, but it's also known as the Uno or Uno 2.0. All of them pretty much work the same and they serve the same function. But if I'm having any trouble with that bottom line, that's an awesome tool to use. This trimmer is set super close. This is probably the trimmer I think I've had the longest. This trimmer is actually a Rebel trimmer, and it's probably 3 years old. I love that trimmer. I love the shape of it. I love the size of it. I love the noise of it. And that one I actually have zero gap pretty close. So as you see, we're doing the exact same thing on the other side. I just like to make sure that that line is gone before I move on. And if that means I got to jump back a step, grab a trimmer, jump back another step, grab a shaver. So when you guys see some of my other videos where I show the chart, the fade chart, it all makes sense. I'm not trying to show up at a class and show you how great I am. I'm trying to show up at a class, and that's why we do this theory behind what we're doing, to try to explain it so that you can self-solve these problems. Because if you are in the field here and you're cutting hair and I'm not there to help you, well, you're going to be able to do it. You either got to do the step above or the step below to get this right. Now, I know some of you guys are going to roast me in the comments for the way I'm going to do this enhancement, but this really works out great for this client. He really enjoys the way it looks when we're done. And I literally do the exact same thing on my hair all the time. If you guys didn't catch that short I just dropped on Instagram, me cutting my own hair, definitely using enhancements because I'm starting to recede a little bit in the front too, and I think it looks great. So before I do the final touches to my fade, I'm actually going to put a little bit of foundation from Johnny B in here, and what that is, it's just a mousse. So I'm going to comb it forward. Stylecraft has this little brush, this little wave brush here, and I'm going to comb that into the waves to try to get them popping. Now, he doesn't really do anything to have these waves. They're just there. And I try to bring them out whenever he comes. I think it's pretty cool when we get it just right. And if there's anything in the crown area, I got the number 2 and I'm going against the grain a little bit. I'm just trying to even it out. He is receding a little bit in the crown as well, so I got to be a little bit careful. I don't want to overdo anything back here. You have a colic. Let's not get too crazy here, but I'm just trying to make sure that it all balances correctly. And then for the enhancement side of this, we're gonna address it there. So now I just want to make sure that top is dry. I really would have been better off using a diffuser there, but it was almost dry because I started to kind of clean up the rest of my blend. So now we're on phase 5. And phase 5 is the edge up. So here I have my sharpest trimmer, and I just mean sharpest because that's how I have this particular one set. So this one's set really close, and I'm going to begin kind of etching out my first line. Now, it's never going to be perfect right away. In fact, I really can recall just a few times kind of really working with people through the edge up process. They were surprised. I remember there was somebody I was working with. He was really surprised by how much work I put into getting it right. I did not get it right first go round. There's always going to be a high side. There's always going to be a low side. You're trying to put a perfectly straight line on a round object. So it definitely takes some finagling, and you're going to have to use your mirror as much as you can. But with the machine, I try to get it as close to good as I possibly can before I go into trying to use the razor or especially trying to enhance it. Yeah, you need to make sure that you're getting it as close as you can. So sometimes the camera angle's tilted and you guys will think that it's crooked or whatever. I'm just telling you, there's only really one way to see this, and that's the mirror. Now, we do have another tool that people tend to forget about, the scissors. And the scissors can be really helpful in helping you to really square off those corners. And this is a technique I use all the time because you could take the trimmer and push it in there and try to make that square. It just sometimes makes the most sense to take a pair of scissors and block that off. So we will follow up with our razor. I'm actually using one of the Stylecraft razors. This is from Danny Styles. He's got some really cool designs on these, and this one's been sitting in Barberside for a long time, and it's still holding up pretty good. So all I'm really doing at this point, I'm stretching his skin a little bit. I'm laying the razor in on a 45-degree angle, and I'm just trying to make sure that I got all of my lines cleaned up, and I got this as close as I can because we're about to do the enhancement and phase 6. So phase 6 is actually going to be enhancement and final details. So it'll be the last thing we do. We're going to go against the grain, and as you guys can see, I got the little deck thing going on there. But now I'm going to actually take my texturizing shears, and I'm going to just look for any problems in the blend, and I'm going to try my best to kind of get them cleaned up. If you are not comfortable with using regular shears, generally on straighter hair, I like to use regular shears the most, and I might use a little bit of texturizing shears, but on curly hair, texturizing shears really tends to help lay down that curl, and it can help you also even out certain areas of the hair where it's a little more dense. So in the final enhancement and detail section, there's no rules here. We're going to make sure that we clean this up by any means necessary. So if that means I got to go back to a 1 or a half or an open taper, or I got to work out a line, this is the time I set aside to do it. In this case, I put a lot of color. I did Kiss Express. I was kind of trying to see if this would work. And for the most part, it actually did work a little bit. But I'm still going to have to kind of paint this in carefully. And even if you make a mistake, it's really not a big deal because we're going to clean it up with a Q-tip. So I'm actually going to pack a good amount of color in here. And one of the reasons why we like to do it like this so much is this actually lasts probably about 4 days if you put it in really heavy. So I'll put this in pretty heavy. I'm not going to wash it out. I'm going to send them out with a lot of that color on there. Eventually it will dry. The longer it's on the scalp, the more it's going to stain the scalp, which is actually the goal here. And the brush that I was using was one of the ones that I was testing. We got some really cool stuff coming down the pipe. I can't really tell you about it yet, but I bought every brush there is, and I used every brush there is. And there's certain ones that I like, and there's certain ones that I hate. You can see how sometimes just a mess of color will come off of that brush if you're not careful. But if you got your fade brush on hand, you can usually work it into the haircut pretty easily. But I don't really ever worry about it too much because I know that I can go back with my Q-tips. I spray them with a little bit of aftershave, and I'm able to kind of quickly get that off if you do it quick enough. Because like I said, we're staining the scalp. So we got to be a little more careful when we're doing that. So now I'm going to take my Q-tip, I spray it with a little bit of aftershave, And this is probably one of my favorite ways to get this clean. And the other way would be I will take my razor and I'll spray it with some aftershave as well, and I'll go back over those lines. Now, if you've used your razor, after you've used your razor, a lot of times there's like a little bit of overhang. So that's what I'm cleaning up right now. Just a little bit of the overhang and making sure that I got this. Now, you've seen him before. He was receding pretty good. And honestly, I think it looks fantastic once we're done with this enhancement. Ever since we did it the very first time, he wanted to do it again. And that's usually the case with just about all of my clients. I can't tell you how many of my clients will come in and having never had it before, and they'll ask for it every single time afterwards. So this is the cut. I hope you like it. I hope you learned something. And if you guys have never tried any enhancements or anything like that, go ahead, give it a try. It's actually a lot of fun. It's fun to do things that push you out of your comfort zone. So I think it's a good idea to do that. And I really like the way his edge up came out and the rest of his cut. Let me know what you guys think down below. And if you guys want to see more tutorials like this, please subscribe to the channel. This is the YouTube Barber Academy. We have over 1,000 videos to help you learn. Subscribe if you're not already. And if you guys want to purchase anything that you've seen in this video, you guys can head over to Stylecraft, use the code Eddie, save 10%, or anything outside of Stylecraft. You guys can head over to my family, Fort Worth Barber Supply, and use the code Eddie10 with them, and also get 10% off of anything that you need. All right, you guys, that's the cut. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that you learn something. For more information on becoming a barber, tools, reviews, tips, techniques, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And also, you guys can follow me on Instagram, where I post a little bit of different stuff over there as well, also at YouTube Barber Academy. Over 1,000 videos to help you learn. My name is Mr. Eddie Barber, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.